Good afternoon, sweet ladies, and thank you for joining us in Far Above Rubies today. I'm so glad that each of you are here. Welcome to all of our new members. I hope that you dive right in and participate. We are on day number 2 of Couples in the Bible, and our focus today is going to be Abraham and Sarah. Your reading challenge is going to be Genesis chapter 16. Now, I love Sarah because to me, Sarah is all of us. Sarah was impatient, waiting on the promises of the Lord. And haven't we all been in that situation at one point or another? Haven't we all found ourselves saying, God, I know you said this would come. I know you said my promise was on its way, but when is it getting here? God, I'm in a hurry. Let me ask you this question. Have you ever had a child that's working on a puzzle and they're just trying to shove this one piece into place? They feel like if they can force it into place, then everything will work out okay. If they force that piece into place because it's the same color as those around it, that it must be what was meant to be, right? And all the while you're trying to say, sweetie, that doesn't go there. Sweetie, just hang on. Mom's going to help you. Hang on, sweetie. Just pull that back out of place and let mom put the perfect piece right into place and bring completion. Doesn't God look at us this way sometimes whenever we're trying to force his timing, when we're trying to force his hand, and he's looking at us going, I'm just waiting on you to move out of the way so I can put my perfect will into place in your life. Many of you are familiar with the story of Abraham and Sarah, how God promised Abraham that he would make a great nation out of him, that his descendants would be as innumerable as the sand of the shore or as the stars in the heavens. And while Abraham maybe was a little doubtful at times, he questioned the Lord, are you sure, God? Are you sure it's going to happen? Sarah was impatient. She was impatient to see the will of the Lord happen in their lives. She was impatient to see God's promises fulfilled in their lives. And so what she did is she said, you know what, Abraham, God's not giving me any children. We've been trying and he's not giving me children. The promises of God are not being birthed into our lives. So go into my handmaid Hagar and get children through her. We go on to read in this chapter that almost immediately Sarah regrets this decision and she places the blame both on her and on Abraham, rightfully so. But could she have been just a little more patient? Could Sarah have just trusted God a little more? Could Sarah have said, I have faith that what God said is what I will see in my life? The passage here says that Abraham was 86 when Hagar birthed Ishmael. And then it goes on to tell us in coming chapters that Abraham was 100 years old when Isaac was born to him. Sarah pushed a miracle. Sarah pushed God's timing. A miracle that needed to be 14 more years in the making. She tried to force it into existence. My friend, whatever situation you find yourself in, if it's financial blessings and God has promised you this and you feel like you need to get in order to achieve that financial blessing, you're trying to force the promises of God because the promises of God say, give and it shall be given back to you. It doesn't say get. It says give. Maybe you are seeking promotion at your work. Maybe you're seeking status. Maybe you're seeking social acceptance and you're trying to climb the ladder by whatever means necessary. But the Bible tells us that the first shall be last and the last shall be first. In other words, let God put you where you need to be. Let God bring you to the social status or to the status in your job that He desires for you, and He will work it out. Because if we try to do it ourselves, we'll end up in last place every time. Whatever the promises of God are in your life that you are hanging on to, hang on to them. God is faithful. It may be another 14 years in the making, but God will deliver your promise. You see, God waited until Sarah could no longer have children. At the point at which Sarah sends Hagar into Abraham, she says, God's not giving me any children. He's restrained me from having children, which means she was capable physically of having children, but God wasn't allowing it to happen. At the point at which God visits again and says, this time next year, I'm going to give you a son through Sarah. Sarah says, but it has ceased to be with me the way of women. She's saying, I can physically no longer have children. And God says, then that's the perfect timing. When we can no longer have our grubby little fingers all over his promise, when we can no longer put our fingerprints over the miracle of God and have it look like we had anything to do with it, that's when God says, now the time is perfect. When we can take no credit, when we can take no glory, and it belongs completely and totally to him, that's when the promises of the Lord are fulfilled in our lives. Go and read Genesis chapter 16. Find yourself somewhere in Sarah's story. I do every time I read Sarah's story throughout her life. I find myself in her. I find my impatience. I find my trying to push the Lord. I find doubt. And then I find that God is faithful. He is faithful to deliver his promises. If no one's told you lately, you are loved and you are cherished. You are valuable. You have worth, my friend, and that worth is far above rubies. Thank you for being here today. You've got a couple of wonderful guest speakers coming to you the next couple of days, and I can't wait to hear from them. Make sure you tune in, comment, and let them know that you are here. God bless you all, and I will see you on Sunday.